Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of GGReemie. And this is part 2 of our interview with DaFemalePhenom. It is such a fun and exciting interview. Like I said in the last episode, I had to split it up in two because there was so much juicy information and very insightful stuff as well. So I hope you guys enjoy part 2 of the interview. We're gonna learn about the Scream Reapers. We're gonna learn about hobbies outside of gaming that Phenom loves to dabble in, and how she got into special effects makeup. Stick around for the second half of the interview. And if you guys are enjoying all of the other episodes of the podcast, please make sure to leave a nice little review on our Spotify or Apple Podcasts channel, as it helps out a lot. And without further ado, I'm gonna stop yapping and we're gonna get right into this episode, part 2 with DaFemalePhenom. Let's go. Hey, Gigi. All right, switching gears. I want to talk about some hobbies.
Yes.
So outside of gaming, what are some hobbies that you like to do in your free time?
I love DIYs and crafting. I love it. I like taking stuff apart, and I have this thing where I feel like I need tools. Like I need a sander, I need a saw, because I have so many ideas. I have so much room for activities in my mind. And I am just I love crafting. I love making things. I love sewing. I love I really, really, really want a 3D printer. Ooh. I have this idea for this hella cosplay that I want to do. And I'm just I can't wait to sit down and make it. I just really want, I love making things. My mom was a good drawer. She knew how to draw really well. And her art was amazing. And I wish and she wanted to teach me how to do it. And I think because she noticed how creative I was with special effects makeup and stuff. And I wish I had of, because when I'm looking at special effects makeup artists, they are drawing out their concepts. And I feel like it would be so much easier, because when I do my makeups, I'm looking at it from my mind. And people are looking what the hell is she doing? And I'm like, please just trust the process. I can't draw, so I can't show you that way. But I really wish that I knew how to draw so that I could add that to my list of hobbies, because it looks so relaxing.
You can always learn.
Yes, yeah, I am learning. That is one thing that I am learning now, and I'm really excited about it. Another thing that I love coloring. I get coloring books. I have a slew of adult horror coloring books and stuff, and I just pull out my colored pencils and my ink pens, and I just go to town. I love it.
Okay, period.
Yes.
I remember you did a cosplay.
Mother
the lady
Miranda.
from yes. I can't remember if her name was Miranda or
yes.
not. But I knew she was from Resident Evil.
Yes.
I was like, oh yes.
And that was my first cosplay, and I say my first because I hear this all the time, you did the Undertaker, and I'm like, no, that was me putting on wrestling gear and a jacket and a hat and a wig. That is not cosplay to me. I have a newfound of respect for cosplayers, because you guys, I thought that I was going to be able to go in there and just put this Mother Miranda cosplay together, and it was going to take a week, and it literally took me a month to get that dress. I had to sew, I had to craft, I had to piece. It was so much. And my community, oh my God, I was like, you know what? And they recognized when I needed to take a break, because I was getting frustrated. And I was like, you know what? I said, I'm just going, and they were like, Phenom, just take a break. It'll be okay. And I was like, but I have to get this finished. And they were like, no, it'll be okay. And I'm glad I had them there and I did it live, because they got to see that journey, and they got to see everything come together and see the reward. So that was a lot, but it was fun. It was so fun.
I always want to like try cosplaying,
Hmm.
but I just know that I have a horrible attention span and
That
I have
yes,
little patience.
yes.
So
That is
I
me. Hmm.
mm,
It just
I
take your time and enjoy it. All of those things that you're saying, that was me. So it's going to be there. It's not going to run away from you. But it is. I'm telling you, it's so fun. Just take your time. Don't rush it and enjoy it. Hmm.
and then I don't know what kind of cosplay I want to do because I am
Ooh.
going to DreamCon
Oh,
this year.
I hope I get to see you and I can
Are
go.
you going?
That is the plan. I would love to go. So hopefully I can go. And then I get to hug you. Yay! Yay! Yes.
Oh
Hmm.
my goodness.
Yes.
This is my first DreamCon too.
It would be mine too. It would be mine
I'm
too. Hmm.
I'm excited, but I'm also nervous
Yes.
because these planes though.
Oh my
So
God.
terrifying.
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to look at how I can like get on a train or something like,
Mm-mm.
oh
I
no.
looked. It would take like 2 days for me to get to
Wow.
Houston,
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Crap. Oh God. Okay.
and then driving.
I can't
Mm-mm.
drive. I like if I'm over 2 hours, like I literally have a panic attack. I don't know what it is. I cannot drive for long distances at a time. But when I was younger, I was the type, especially when I first got my license and my vehicle, I was going everywhere. New York, DC, like DC, I was in DC and in Philly, like I want to say every weekend. Like those were my go-to
Mm.
spots. But now, if it's more than an hour or two, I'm like, yeah, this was a mistake. I'm going back home.
I
Yeah.
don't mind driving.
Hmm.
Like I drive from like Virginia to New York,
Yeah.
but I cannot do the city driving.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, me
That's
either.
where I draw the line.
Yes.
I'm not driving in New York City
Oh my,
whatsoever.
never again. Me either. Those
I
people are
remember
horrible and
so
mean. Oh
scary
my God.
to cut you off, honk at you. I'm
Yes.
like, oh no, I can't do this.
My God. Yes.
I remember I drove in DC once,
Mm-hmm.
and me and my friend were looking for parking, and
Woo. Oh
it
my
was.
gosh.
We decided to just like park at a Holiday Inn after
Mm.
2 hours of looking for a parking
Ooh.
spot. Mm-mm.
Yes. And the
Never again.
traffic signs. So here in Baltimore, the traffic signs are like hanging up high, right? And I remember the first time I drove in DC, I was like, where are the traffic lights? Like what and my girlfriend was like, she was like, right there, look over. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, why is it hanging on the side of the I was like, oh my God. Their
Mm-mm.
roundabouts drive me crazy. Drive me crazy. I'm like, what is this? What type of sorcery is this? I don't like it. It's crazy. It is
I can't do
crazy.
it.
Yes. Yes.
I'd rather walk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, just-
Yes. Yes, indeed. Never again and never again. Mm-hmm.
When did you?
It's okay.
when, when did your love of horror start?
Okay. Behave, power, and computer. Jeez. Okay, so my dad he was in the military and he worked really, really hard. Like he worked, I think like the second shift, so he got off late night. Sometime he would work graveyard shift.
Mm-hmm.
So we really didn't get to see him that much. And him and my mom always agreed that, they would love us all the same, but they wanted to create their own separate bonds with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember feeling like, oh my God, like I don't have anything to do with my dad besides sports. And it's like, I want to, do something else. So I remember he would always come in from work at night and he would make himself a sandwich. He would get a piece of fruit and a beer and he would watch horror films. And I was like, you know what? Everybody else is asleep. My sister's asleep. I'm going to spend time with my dad by myself. And I remember the next time he came home, he would peek in the room and check on us, and then he would go down and unwind and stuff. So he peeked in the room, and I'm laying there acting like I'm asleep. And then when he went down the steps, I was tiptoeing down, and I said, "Daddy, can I watch the movie with you?" And he was like, "It's a scary movie. Are you gonna be okay?" And then internally, I'm like, "Oh my God, no!" But I wanted to hang out with him so bad. I was like, "You can do this. You are brave." And he was playing Halloween 1978. And he was like, "Are you sure you're going to be?" He said, "If you wake up and you have a nightmare, we're not watching anymore." And I was like, "Daddy, I'm going to be brave. I can watch it." And we watched it. And I watched Halloween 1978. And I remember looking at him like, "What is wrong with you? Like, you're watching." And I was scared to death. And it just so happens we didn't have school the next day. And my mom, she came peeking around and she was like, "What are you doing out of bed?" And he was waving. He was like, "She's okay." And she just shook her head and went to bed. So we watched Halloween 1978 and he said, "You want to watch another one?" And I had this big grin on my face and I'm like, "Yeah, let's watch another one." So we watched another movie. So that became our like tradition, like every night, or it would be once a week because he said we could do it on the weekends because he was like, "No, you can't do this because of school, da 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 da." So every Friday night when he would come home, that was our weekly traditions. And then Saturdays, I would watch wrestling with my mom. And then after wrestling went off, they had like this horror masterpiece theater in the afternoon. And then they would play a horror film on Saturdays. So that was our thing on the weekends. And I remember one night he was running late coming home and I was pissed. And I'm like, he forgot about me. And I'm laying there and he came in the room and I was crying. I was so sad, right? And he came in the room and he was like, "You sleeping?" And I hopped up and I was like, "No." And he was like, "What was wrong with you?" I said, "I thought you were going to watch the movie with me." And he scooped
Oh.
me up and we sat downstairs and he made our sandwiches and made our little chips and stuff. I had a soda, he had his beer, and we watched American Werewolf in London. That was what started my love for special effects makeup. And I remember looking at that werewolf transformation, and could see him like looking at me with this grin on his face. And I was like, "How can we find out how he turned into a werewolf?" And he said, "Well, it's something called special effects makeup. And that is done by a makeup artist. And they turned him into that." And I was like, "Well, how can we find this out?" And he said, "Well, you find out after the credits." And I said, "Well, can we fast forward?" And he was like, "Just wait a minute." He was like, "Just let me finish watching the movie first." And I remember it says special effects makeup, Rick Baker, director Michael Landon. And I was like, "Can we go to the library tomorrow?" That's how old I am, because that's where we did our research. And he was like, "What do you want to go to the library for?" And I said, "I have to find out who Rick Baker is." And my dad woke me up. We went to IHOP because in Baltimore, I lived in West Baltimore, and like on Ricestown Road, there was the mall, there was Blockbuster, there was the library, and then there was an IHOP. So my dad and we woke up that morning. I think my baby sister and my mom was doing something that Saturday morning. I think she had to take her shopping or something like that. And I was like, "Nope, I'm hanging out with my dad because I need to know who Rick Baker is." And we went to IHOP for a little while. We ate. I had pancakes and stuff like that. And we talked. And then he said, "You ready to go to the library?" And I said, "Yes." And then I said, "Well, can we go to Blockbuster afterwards?" And he said, "Yes, we can go to Blockbuster." So we went to the library and I looked up Rick Baker and he let me sit there. I think I was there for like hours. And I'm looking up everything about Rick Baker. And then it evolved into looking up special effects makeup. It evolved looking up movie production and angling and cameras and utensils. And we were there for hours. And he didn't he wasn't frustrated. He was so patient. Like, that's what I love about my parents. Anything that we did, it didn't seem like it was an annoyance or it was a bother to them. They just let us be in our element. And he sat there and he got a couple of books and a couple of comics, and he was like, "You okay?" And I said, "I'm okay." And I just sat there and I asked the lady, I said, "Can I have a pen and a piece of paper, a pencil and a piece of paper?" And she said, "Sure." And I was writing down things and I was jotting things and I was writing down things about latex and, you know, spirit glue and how to make things. And then I found Nightmare on Elm Street. We had never watched that. And I learned about K&B Special Effects Makeup Group, and Greg Nicotero is a part of that makeup team, the makeup artist and lead designer for Walking Dead. And he was talking about how I learned about how he did special effects makeup for Freddy Krueger. And I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, oh my God. And then that led to burn victims. And it led to what burn victims look like. And I'm just going like, you know, just thing to thing. And I remember leaving and my dad was like, "Well, what movie do you want to get?" And I said, "I want to watch Nightmare on Elm Street." And he was like, "No, that's a lot." And I was like, "Please, please, please." And I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, "I got all of these things and I got all." And he was like, "Okay." We got the movie and I watched that movie and I was terrified. I didn't let my dad know, but that was the first horror film that scared me shitless. That and Serpent in the Rainbow. I was like, I'm not watching that for a while. I'm good on that. And I said to my dad, I said, "I want to do this." And he was like, "Do what? Make movies?" I said, "I want to make the people in the movies." And he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay." He said, "You do your chores and you make a list of the things that you need, and I'll give your mom the money to buy all of your stuff and you can make it." And I was doing any and everything because I needed syrup, I needed food coloring, I needed oatmeal, I needed this, I needed that. And I needed a whole bunch of newspapers. My dad took me around because I was making like masks. But the way that I was doing it was they were too scared to let me play in latex yet because my mom saw how messy it was. And she's like, "No, you're not getting this all over my thing. No. Mm-mm." And I was like, "Well, what if I find another way to do it? Can I get that?" And she said, "Yes." And then I looked up stuff about paper mache and how you can like make things out of that. And my mom would take me around to ask people, you know, "Do you want your newspapers? Can I have them?" And I learned how to make the mixture for the paper mache. And I'm making the best way I can describe my mask. They were horrible. But the best way that I could describe them is I don't know if you saw Rob Zombie's Michael Myers and how
Mhm.
that's how my mask would look. But they were quote unquote creatures, okay? And I made my creatures and they were amazing. So I did that and I started learning how to make blood. And I'm looking at Greg Nicotero's notes and I'm looking at Rick Baker's notes. And I'm like, "Oh my God, like this is amazing." And then I had a list of films that I wanted to watch. And I remember my dad took me to the movies to see Beetlejuice.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Who is the artist for this?" But then I'm like, "No, this isn't an artist." Cause like, I'm thinking Beetlejuice is a real person. Like, this is how he naturally looked. And my
Mm-mm.
dad was like, "No, Beetlejuice was made up as well." And then I found out about V. Neal. And she was the first woman special effects makeup artist in horror that I found out about. And like, this was amazing. And I'm like, this is my genre. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. And it's been me being a gore whore ever since. Ever
What was
since.
the oatmeal for, though?
The oatmeal was, I saw like this low budget film. My dad loves low budget horror. Like and that's where I got that from. And I forgot the name of this film, but it was these zombies that was walking around And I was like, oh my God, Daddy. I said, what is wrong with that zombie? And I remember him saying, it looked like somebody threw hot oatmeal on him. So I took that as this needs to be a part of makeup. And I remember my baby sister, she was such an idiot. She let me do any and everything to her. Her and my dad, like they were my little mannequins, so they let me put all this crap on them, and it was a mess. And I remember I said to my baby sister, I said, just sit down. I want to do something right quick. And she's looking at me like, when you say that, it is never good. No, thank you. So I'm like, please. I said, just sit down. I'll let you play my video game if you just sit down. And she's like, okay.
Not the
So
bribe.
yes, I had to bribe her. So I remember I got Elmer's glue because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like somebody had used Elmer's glue and like dried up oatmeal and put it on this zombie's face. And I'm stirring it up and I'm putting food coloring in there and I'm mixing it and I'm like, this doesn't look like a black person's face. And that's how I started taking the food dyes and I started mixing up colors and stuff like that. And I remember watching my mom and she was like, how did you know how to do that? And I said, I don't know. I'm just, figuring it out. And she just had this big grin on her face and it looked like she was just so happy like to see me like that. And to see her happy that I'm doing this, it just gave me that drive and it just made me want to do it even more. So I'm mixing it up and I'm testing my sister's skin tone and I'm testing this and what this will work. And then I took the little the little popsicle stick and I like slapped it on her face and I'm like putting it on there and I'm like taking the makeup and I'm making her eyes look sunken. It looked so horrible, but to me, it was like my masterpiece. And I remember like, mommy, look. And my mother looked mortified. It was like one of them things where she didn't know whether she wanted to scratch her whole body or run. And she was like, that is very nice, Lily. Just now let's wipe it off, okay? Like she couldn't wait. She couldn't wait to get it off. And I was like, wait a minute, I have to take a picture. And I pulled out my little Polaroid camera because I was going to show this to George Romero because he was the king. He still is. He's the king of zombies. And I remember I told my dad, I don't know if George Romero ever got it. I hope he did. But I remember I gave it to my dad and I was like, can you please send this to George Romero and tell him about the zombie that I made? And he said, okay, I'll send it. So yeah, I have, oh my God, that has been my passion for years. I wish I would have went to school for film or I would have did film or either, I actually was a contestant for Face Off and got scared and left because I was like
Oh,
terrified. But I wish I would have went through it and I would have like done it because I think that would have been a nice thing, for me to accomplish and do too. So,
I
yep,
mean, you can still do it.
I can. Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
There's
yeah.
no like limit to when you can do it. You and Nate can
Nope.
have like a little collaboration.
I've been saying that to him because I'm like, these documentaries are really good. You ever thought about making movies? And he was like, you know what? I have. And I'm like, let's get it popping, son. Let's get this thing doing. So I hope that one day he takes me seriously and is like, all right, Ma, let's make this movie. Because
Hmm.
he gives me drive. If he feels like that I'm slacking or I'm getting in my head, he's like, where's the content? Nope, let's get it done. So I hope that one day we can be a team and then I'm just waiting for that. It's going to be so dope.
We definitely need more black horror films.
Yes, 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 indeed. Yes.
We can't have Jordan Peele having all the fun.
Yes. And him doing it by himself. Like,
Hmm.
come on.
I wish there were more. I'm trying to think. I know there's
Nia
like
DaCosta. Yeah.
Leprechaun, the
Mm-hmm.
Leprechaun movie in the hood.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Oh my.
god.
There's a lot of people who are like giving me the side eye, but I love that movie. Oh my God, I love it. Like that little leprechaun interacting with the people, my people. I feel like acting with my people. That was a dream come true for me. That was a dream come true. Coming from, and that's one of my dad's favorite franchises, that and Hellraiser. So when we finally got to that one, my dad was like, "What in the world is this?" And I'm just like, "Yes, yes." I'm like, "Yes, finally,
Oh my
finally."
goodness.
Yes, that was one of my favorites. Yes, indeed.
And then what is it? Bones?
Yes.
That was
Yeah,
a good
and
one.
Snoop Dogg actually has an anthology of horror.
Hmm.
It's called oh my god. I think it's called Snoop's Hood Horror or something like that. And I'm not going to lie, like my dad and I were like, this is going to be crazy. But he really did. There were some really good stories in that anthology. Like it was really, really good. I really liked it. It was really good.
Have you seen me and my boyfriend randomly found this on Tubi, but it's
Mhm.
like called I Got a Story to Tell. That was
Yes.
really
Yeah.
good.
And I didn't, that was actually on BET and I did not know that.
Really?
Yes.
I
When
didn't
I
know.
looked it up, it was a BET series
Mm-hmm.
and they took it off because people were complaining that it was too much of a, what did they say? It wasn't fit for mainstream or regular TV. So they took it off there and they actually put it on the BET app and now it's on Tubi. Yup. Yup. Ain't that crazy? And out of all of I don't know if anybody remembers this also, but BET around Halloween time, they had a lot of black horror films that came out around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was one with Marcus Houston and Omarion
I
said
remember
somebody help.
that.
Yes, and they made like I think it's about 2 or 3 movies of that if I'm not mistaken. Like they actually had sequels of that, and I'm like nobody remembers the BET horror movies, and they're looking at me like no, and I'm like oh my god, I'm really old. Like
I remember that.
yes,
That
yes.
was actually a good movie.
It was. It was. I was getting the boombastic side eye for it, but you know, I like what I like and I'm not going to be ashamed of it. Yes.
And then it's not a black horror movie, but
Mhm.
Brandy's in it. So I know
Yes.
what you
Yes.
is it I know what you did last summer or I still know what you did
I
last summer.
still know what you did yeah. She recently did one that was really good. I don't know if you saw that, The Room or The
Mm-mm.
Front Room. Oh my god, you have to see it. So I felt like it started off a little bit slow and it was like, I was like, is this your typical love horror / thriller? I'm going to shit. But then as the story progressed, it's like, oh my God. The ending, superb. 10
Mm.
out of 10. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I I'm one of those people I cannot watch Terrifier. I watched the
Really?
first one. It's not that I'm like afraid of it, it's the gore.
Mm-hmm. Now the last one, the last one was really good. But there was a scene that I know is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. I really don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it. But me and Nate's thing is to go see a horror film or a film once a month. But I remember because it was just the two of us in the movie theater. And I remember like, Nate, you got to go see this with me. And he was like, Ma, he said, it's something about that clown that creeps me. That creeps me out. And I'm like, please, I'm your mama. I gave you birth. You got to go see this with me. He said, so I tried to get him to watch the other two with me. And he was okay with the first two. But the last one, I remember him looking over at me like, what am I watching? And I was like, just hang in there. I said, Nate, just hang in there with me. He was like, Ma, what in the hell is this? And I said, just hang in there with me, please. When that movie was over, Remy, he got up so fast. He said, yeah, I'm out of here. He said, you acting different. I remember him putting emphasis on you acting different. And I said, what? He was like, I knew you like gore, but he said, I see why they was handing out barf bags. You set me up. And I was like, son, listen. listen, you got to trust me. He said, nope. He said, I'm out of here.
Never
He
again.
ran out of here. Ran out of there. But it was really good. It was really good. Yes.
I was fine up until the point where in the first movie where he had that lady upside down and he sawed her. I was
Yes.
like,
Yes. And it's like,
no.
like I say, I laugh when I'm uncomfortable, right? And I remember seeing the film. No, the second one. I saw the second one, and it was at a film viewing. It was like a showing. And everybody is like throwing up and gagging and dry heaving. And I'm just sitting there with this grin on my face. And I'm like, wait a minute, am I the only one that's smiling? Like, this is weird. And I'm looking around, and we had to write like a review or talk about what we thought about it. And I remember the lady walking up to me with her little camera, and she says, I had to stop you because you were the only one walking out of here with a grin on your face. Can I ask why? And I said, it just gave me everything I wanted. And she just had this look on her face like, what the fuck? But that was the first that was the first thing that came to mind. And she says, okay. She was like, all right, thank you so much for I said, you're welcome. Thank you so much for the movie. And I remember her having the strangest look on her face like, this lady is not a productive member of the society. Somebody needs to follow her. Like, I felt
She's
like all
terrified.
yes. But I said, oh my God, it was so good. Like, Art the Clown is the shit to me. Like, I love Art the Clown. I love Art the Clown. I love him. Yeah.
He is a mess. The way
He
he just
is.
like starts laughing and then gets
Yes.
all serious. I'm like,
Yes.
ooh,
Yes. Yes.
I don't think I was scared, but I was just like
What the
really
hell?
upset. I was just mad at like all the dumb stuff that was going on. I'm like,
Oh
what
my
are you
God.
doing?
Yes.
How did you get in this situation?
Yes. Yes. It's crazy. I'm like, what in the world? But then at the same time, it's like, this is awesome. Like, what? And it's crazy because he was first introduced in another anthology. I think it was called Hollow Tales or something like that. And I remember watching that, but I couldn't remember anything in that series but Art the Clown. And I was like, this little story was too short. And I'm like, what? I said, is this a snippet of a movie? Like, and I started researching it. And I have a friend named Prince Harlequin, and he's a horror critic writer. And I said, Prince, I said, you have to tell me about Art the Clown. And he got excited. He was like, Phenom. Oh my God, I just wrote something on him. Read it and let me know what you think. And I read it. And I said, I need more. And I remember looking on Twitter, and I'm looking at articles from Bloody Disgusting and stuff like that. And everybody is saying the same thing. We need more of Art the Clown. And then that's when his movie started. And Damien, thank you. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but thank you so much. I know we shouldn't be on a first name basis, but I feel like you are my best horror director friend in my head. So thank you so much.
Hey, never know.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
okay, take some notes.
Yes. Yes. It was amazing. I love it.
I remember my mom used to tell me that I was a very morbid child because most kids would be afraid of Child's Play.
Yes.
But she said I was watching it and just having so much fun, enjoying like Chucky and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Same. And my dad was like, and it's weird because I remember going to the video store and I was like, can we see Child's Play? And I remember my dad saying, I don't think you should be watching this because there's a lot of cussing in it. And the guy is standing at the counter and he's like, really? You're worried about the profanity? I felt like that's what he wanted to say. And he was like, he said, I'm sorry. He was like, this is our thing. He said, and you're not scared of him? I said, no. So we rented Child's Play. And I remember laughing because it was so funny to me to see like this little doll and you see like his little feet just like running around. and killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking at my dad and I was like, Daddy. And he said, yes, because he already knew what I was going to say. I said, why are people afraid of this doll? Like, they can't just throw him out the window. And he said, if I tell you that, yep, it won't, you won't get the movie. And I remember my favorite part in the movie, well, two parts, is when they asked Andy what happened to his aunt. And he said, no, Andy wanted Aunt Maggie to turn on the news so that, you know, Charles Lee Ray, aka Chucky, could see the news. And he's like, Aunt Maggie, Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news. And she's like, no, you have to go to bed, right? And then when Aunt Maggie passes away, Andy walks up to his mom. Like, this little boy just went through this traumatic experience. His Aunt Maggie's dead. His mom is out working the night shift, so his mom is not home. He's in here by himself, and this killer doll is you know, in his ear, like, this is what you need to do. You better do this. So he's going through enough shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that this little boy says to his mom, they're asking him, what happened, Andy? Are you okay? The first thing he says out of his mouth is, Chucky says Aunt Maggie was a bitch and she deserves to die. And I'm like, who is the damn killer? Are you kidding me? Like, are we looking at, he's carrying around this doll and they're like, Andy, don't you say that. I'm like, oh my God.
They just lock him away.
Yes. And I'm like, and I remember my dad saying, boy, shut your mouth. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, don't you say that. They're watching you. And then the Chucky doll is left in the elevator. And the other part, the Chucky doll is left in the elevator. And this old couple walks in. And the lady is looking at Chucky after he's like roughed up and all of this stuff, right? Because he's been terrorizing the whole city of, I think was it Chicago or Detroit or something? Like he terrorized the whole city. And he's just sitting there in the elevator and the lady turns around and she's like, what an ugly doll. And they leave out of the elevator and he's like, fuck you. Oh my God. I made my dad rewind that so many times. And he was like, this is the last time, you crazy person. He's like, I'm not going to keep rewinding it. That is a classic. Forever a classic.
I was so excited when they put him in Dead by Daylight.
Yes.
Because most people are like afraid of him, but I'm just sitting there laughing.
When I found out that they made the mechanics that little shit could climb underneath of pallets, I said, oh, this is diabolical. But it's Chucky. It is Chucky. And I was sitting there, I was like, how in the world is he going to hook people? When they announced it, I'm like, how is he going to hook people? He's a killer doll. But I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So if you haven't played Dead by Daylight, you have to see it. The way that they did it is genius. Like, it's genius. And I never would have thought of that. How they thought of that was good. I'm here for that. I love it. I love it so much. Yes.
I love when, like, I'm running away from Chucky and you could just, like, hear him flying through the air trying to get you. And, like,
that little laugh.
He's like, ah.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. And he's like, don't you get away from me, you little shit. And I'm like, oh my God. This is hilarious.
Leave me alone.
Yes. They got it done so right. It was so good. It was so good. Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
He has to be like the funniest killer.
I think him and Freddy, they are the two assholes. They are. I feel like when Freddy first started out, that was his, oh, I'm going to scare the shit out of you. Right? And then as a lot of people don't like it, but I feel like as oh my God, as the franchise progresses, we get to see how much of a shit that Robert Englund is and how he brought that into Freddy's character. And it's like, I'm scared as shit of Freddy, but I really want to hang out and drink a couple of beers with Robert Englund because I feel like this is who he is. I feel like this is exactly who he is. It's like a love-hate relationship, like with Negan from The Walking Dead. Like, you hate his guts because of what he did to Glenn. And it's like, I really want to sit down and hang out with Negan and just like, do hood rat shit with him. Like, it's just one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so cool.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Freddy is in his own little realm. Oh my
Oh,
god.
yes. Yes.
I still remember, I cannot remember which movie it was from, but the one where, like, he's with the girl and she's asleep and he goes, got your nose.
Yes. Oh my that was in Freddy versus Jason.
Oh
And
my
he did that
god.
to Kelly Rowland. And I
Oh
was
my.
like, oh my God. Out of all things that you could say. But it was so funny because you're traumatized, like, oh my God, if I go to sleep, somebody's going to cut my nose off. And then you hear that. And it's like, you know what? I can't with him. I cannot. I cannot.
It's a mess.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Right. I want to switch gears and talk about wrestling with you because, as we all
Ooh.
know, you are a big wrestling fan.
Yes, indeed.
Well, first off, I guess we should talk about the Royal Rumble since
Yes.
that's most recent. I didn't watch it. I should probably watch it, but I did see that you were like doing a little bit of streaming on it.
Yes. Yes.
How would you rate the overall show from 1 to 10?
I rate it. I want to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
The reason why I took the point off is because I really, 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 I love Charlotte. I'm a Flair Dynasty fan all day, but I'm really waiting for, Naomi to get her big one. I feel like Naomi has been there,
Forever.
for a long periodically time. And I just really want to see her. I feel like she's getting all of these title shots and she's getting these tag team wins and stuff like that. But I really want her to have her Jey Uso moment. I feel like the energy from the crowd that she draws, even when she was like, I feel like she was a semi heel for a little bit. I feel like she still had the crowd's attention and she still had a chokehold on her fans. And I love Rhea. I feel like Rhea is like my alter ego. And I think that, I want her to keep that match. I want her to keep that belt. But I feel like Naomi needs that women's championship belt from WrestleMania. And I think she deserves her WrestleMania moment. And for Charlotte to be gone, even though she was gone off an injury and stuff like that, I feel like, yeah, you came back, but I felt like it wasn't your turn yet. I honestly feel like it shouldn't have been your turn right now. So that was the only gripe that I had.
When I saw the clips of that, I kind of felt like they could have just like worked, like made her
A
like
little
work
longer.
for it, but like just to come back and be like, okay, here's your title shot.
Yes.
That's a little.
Yep.
But I also saw that Alexa came back.
Yes,
I was
she
like, oh.
did. And I was so happy because the thing that like Bray Wyatt is another one of my favorite wrestlers. Like all of the dark characters, guys, you can always say that's Phenom's favorite because it is. I'm not gonna lie. Like horror and wrestling, two of my favorite things in the same. Like hello, sunshine and happiness. But anyway, I felt like her and Bray, they worked so well together, and I was feeling like I like the Wyatt Six, right? And I feel like the characters and Bray Wyatt's vision for Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six, I felt like they did amazing with it, but I couldn't help but feel like something was missing. And I couldn't help but feel like, no, somebody's left out. And it was Alexa. Like Alexa, I feel like it was something for her to get used to, I want to say. But I felt like she brought such a great addition to Bray Wyatt and his whole Wyatt family and, the Fiend. I felt like it was so, like, it fit the puzzle piece. Like, everything came together. And when she wasn't there, I was like, yay, Wyatt Six, but where's Alexa? Like, I really want Alexa. So it was I was very, very happy to see her come back. Very happy to see her come back. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see her thrive. I want to see what's going to happen with her and the Wyatt family and how this is all going to play out, because it's going to be a movie. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I was gonna say, I haven't like heard anything about the Wyatt Six in a while. Like, what's
I
going
don't,
on with them?
I think that they are, I can't speak what the script is, but what I think is happening is, for one, I kind of feel like Bo Dallas and the rest of everybody, they're trying to figure out how to do this without Bray. That's number one. And two, I think a lot of times talent relations in WWE, they do not, I feel like sometimes they push their talent out too quick and they don't have everything in order, or they don't push them out soon enough. So I think what's probably happening behind the scenes is that they're trying to figure out how to work them into storylines, or they're trying to figure out how to keep them and keep everybody, interested, or keep everybody. And it could be also a thing too where they're trying to figure out how to work Alexa Bliss in there. So I think that's probably what it is. I'm hoping that's what it is. And that they're not trying to like what they do with all of their other talents that I felt like should be more prominent and more in the forefront. I hope that they're not trying to, or that they're not putting them on the verge of bury. That's what I am scared that they're going to get buried by. And that's what makes me nervous about, like, I love all of these, the Evolve program and the Legends program and stuff that they have in the NXT, but I feel like the only thing that happens with that is that there's new talent. What are you going to do with them? Where are you going to place them? And then that leads to more releases. That leads to more people not getting TV time or getting storylines. And it's just anxiety. It's anxiety. So I get it. I'm nervous too. I've been asking, where are the Wyatt Six? I need them. Like, yeah, I've been asking that same question. Yes.
Like, they were going strong, and
They
then
were.
after a while, it's been like a couple of months, and I haven't heard about them.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yes.
But back to Naomi. I love the fact that she decided to take time away from the WWE and go out and do independent stuff, because they were pushing her strong and she was looking great.
She was, and I'm glad that she did too, so that she could see what I feel like it's a lot of things. Maybe to see, what's out there, see, how it feels to be the headliner of things, and everybody wanting your shot or wanting your spot. And I think that was important for it. Just like Mercedes, I felt like she's a very good wrestler. Like the Four Horsewomen, when they came out, I felt like Mercedes and Charlotte and Becky Lynch, when they came out, they set the tone for this evolution of women's wrestling. And I felt like when they created that, I feel like I'm missing somebody. I probably did. I'm sorry. Bailey, yes. When they came out and they fucked shit up, that was what I needed in my era of watching Divas Wrestling, because it was so annoying to hear men say, well, time to get up and go to the bathroom when the women's matches would come on. Or it was nothing but them being in that ring to be degraded, or, let's see your puppies. Oh my God, it pissed me off. Even at my young age of seeing that, it made me so angry, because I knew what Lita had to offer. I saw what Medusa had to offer. I saw what Luna Vachon had to offer. I saw what Jackie, Queen Charmel, Awesome Kong, all of these people, they are damn good wrestlers, but you want them out here in bikinis and Trish Stratus, Vince McMahon telling her, I was just talking about it, Vince McMahon telling her, get on your knees and take all of your clothes off. And I'm like, I beg your pardon? You fucking weasel? Who are you talking to? And I think that's what led to my separation of the wrestling talk show, because I got hired because I knew so much. I got hired because I was able to debate somebody under the table about wrestling, but you only wanted me to talk about Total Divas. Like, no, we're not doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can talk about Kurt Angle and I can talk about The Undertaker all day. I can talk about Sting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like once the Four Horsewomen came out, and then everything was changed. The evolution, I call it the women's evolution of wrestling, has changed. And Mercedes knew, like, I started this shit. I don't have to sit here and get buried and you know what I'm saying? Like, I can do my big one. And I'm so happy for her and I'm so proud of her. And I hear people say all the time, she need to come back with Naomi. No, she doesn't. She's thriving. She's doing her big ones. Leave her alone. Let her sit. And let her sit in all of her glory. Let her be. Leave her alone, please.
I love that she's like doing it big over on, oh my god, what AEW. But I always like see people like trying to talk down about her because she left. They try to like belittle her because she knows her worth. And she wanted to go out and like be as big as she knew that she could be outside of WWE. Same with Athena.
Yes.
I love her. Oh my god.
Can I say that Athena, when I met her, she was Ember Moon. And
you met her?
Yes. And what's crazy is that she came in town for an event. I got a chance to meet her. It was like weird. Like, she was just sitting there. She was like a wrestling fan at that moment. And she was sitting there and I was like, hi, Ember. And she turned around. She was like, hi. I said, okay, I'm going to leave you alone, right? And then when she started streaming, I brought that up to her. And she was like, oh my God, that's you. Where have you been? And I was like, this is my best friend and nobody can tell me anything. We played Animal Crossing together. Aww. We played games together. So, like, she's really an inspiration and she's really sweet. And she's one of those types of people where she has been very transparent and she gives us the real side of wrestling. She gives us the real highs and lows and she talks to us like human beings and she talks to us like, I almost want to say sometimes she's like venting, like, but she is like one of those people who told her story and she was one of those people who also realized her worth and realized, you know, if this is not it, I have to go where I'm appreciated and I have to go where I'm loved. So I think that's why she can identify. She says this all the time about how she can identify with the direction that Naomi and Mercedes took because she was feeling the same kind of way. Like, she knew that she was a good technical wrestler and she had a lot to give and a lot, and a lot to show. And it's like, a lot of times I feel like people don't understand like the business aspect of things. And I had to learn that because I was one of them people like, you fucking assholes, like, you're not listening to us. But when you put a lot of people in a space and you make it really saturated or you make it crowded, sometimes those things happen and we don't realize that. We don't realize that, okay, you're burying your talent because you're constantly calling people up and you're making all of these fractions and all of these, you know, projects. I think that we need to focus on what you have and push them and get them out to like how The Rock and John Cena does, where when they get to a point, if they get injured or you have no more room for them and they've outdone everything and beat everybody's ass in the locker room, now they can move into talent relations or now they can move into movies and they still are able to stay within that company. Because I feel like WWE is the largest and they have so much to offer and so much to give. But I feel like if they would listen to the WWE universe and probably their talent, they would be larger and bigger than what they already are. So, yes, that's just my take on it, but nobody asked me anything. So,
you know what's funny? When I first like was planning out this show, I made like a PowerPoint because I'm a nerd.
Listen, I am too. I am too.
And I had like a little collage of like people that I want to have on the show one day once I'm like not afraid to reach out to people.
Yes, yes.
Two of the people that I really want to have on the show is Ember Moon and Austin Creed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Those are some gems, yes.
one
And I
day,
feel like they would not say no. Like Ember Moon is really, if I feel like if she has time, she'll do it. She will do it. I don't really like, I haven't interacted with Austin Creed like that, so I really wouldn't know. But I feel like you would get a yes from Ember. You definitely would. Definitely would.
in my head, I'm like, I gotta build this up first, so they're not
I
like,
get it. But I
I
will
don't
say
know.
this. I was like that with Tony Todd. May he rest in peace. And it got to the point where Tony Todd, he's so, oh my God, he was so sweet. I remember I pitched the idea to him to interview him on Screen Reapers, but it was during the time where it was a lot of horror conventions going on, and he was working on a lot of projects. And I remember I sat up and I wrote that DM like I was writing my resume, like I was rewriting it, taking stuff out, rewriting it, taking stuff out. And I never forget, my friend Preston was like, stop overthinking it. You have been watching Candyman for how long? And in your head, you say all the time, that is your dad. Talk to your dad. And I wrote that DM and I was like, hey, Mr. Todd, I'm the founder of Screen Reapers. I wanted to reach out to you because I wanted to know if you could send me information on or send me who to talk to interview you. And he was like, oh, you talk to me. And I was like, what? And he followed me and he said, well, I'm going to follow you so we can keep the DMs open. And he was very transparent. He said, I'm going to be real with you. I have a lot going on, but let's talk. He said, if I have room in my calendar and I'm available, he said, girl, you got me. Those were his exact words. And I remember like it got to the point where we would chat so much. Like he would say, just checking in to say Merry Christmas or tell the boys happy birthday. Like if he would see me posting things, he would like, tell that Aussie I said happy birthday and I'm so proud of him. Like tell Nate to keep it up. Like he knew my children on a first name basis.
That's so
And what's
sweet.
crazy is a month or two before he passed, I was in like a weird space. And I don't know if he noticed it or he felt it, but he said, hey girl, just checking in. And I said, Mr. Todd, I'm just in a weird space. I said, I have not forgot about what I asked you about. I said, I still want to interview you. I said, but I'm just going through a lot. He said, listen, I'm here. He said, it's going to be all right. He said, and I'll be here whenever you need me. But so I said all that to say, Remy, don't let time slip by. Do not, because that's one of the things that I really regret is that I didn't get, like, even though we had our little talks, I really, really, really wanted to talk to one of my masters of horror. And I wanted to just sit down and talk to him because everything that I heard from people who interviewed him previously is like, you're talking to your uncle or you're talking to your brother or you're talking to your homeboy. And I could tell that because of how he was as a genuine person. So don't let any moments pass you by and don't let that be just something that is on paper or something that is a goal. Send that DM. Please do. Because you're good at this. And I feel like this whole interview has just been like me sitting down talking to one of my girlfriends. So
That's what I love.
Yes. So I'm sure that you're going to rock it. And I'm sure they're going to say yes. And if they can't do it at that time, they'll let you know. And I can't wait to see it. So yes, do it. Do not let any time pass you by. Please don't. Please.
You're giving me inspiration to do it. Yes. I swear, I have like some like drafted DMs for people, and they're just sitting there.
Send them. Send them. I feel like when you overthink it, it's our anxiety, like talking us out of it. But when you do things other than proofread, that's when you're going to get stuck. That's when you're going to sit in your head and it's going to be like a jail cell. Open it up and let it go. Yes. Let it go. You got this. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got it. I got
You
it.
got it. And I'm gonna check in on you. Say, did you see that? Send that DM? Yes.
Oh
I
my god.
sure am. Yes.
I was like,
Uh-huh.
you know what? Sometimes that's what people need. They just need
Yeah.
somebody to like push
Mm-hmm.
you and be like, did
Yes.
you do it?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think it helps like with the fear because when
It
sometimes
does.
you just need somebody to like push you
Yes. Yes.
instead of you
Yes.
just being like, oh, I don't know. You need
Mm-hmm.
like that Shia LaBeouf gif.
Oh my God. Yes. Just do it. Yes,
Just do
indeed. Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
What was one of your favorite wrestling moments?
My favorite wrestling moments was okay, so I have two now.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite wrestling moment old is the Undertaker and Mankind match.
Mm-hmm.
Also the end of an era match with Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H.
Ooh.
And now my favorite wrestling moments is Jey Uso.
Yes.
Jey Uso has been. I feel like the Usos were a team. They have always been a team. That's never going to change. Like the Samoan dynasty, I feel like that's a big team in itself. But it was something about Rikishi's boys that was just like I felt like their light was going to get bigger and bigger
Mm-hmm.
and bigger. And I always heard people talking about Jimmy, 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 Jimmy. But I always had my eyes on Jay because I was like, Jay is going to do his big one before Jimmy. And I remember people cussing me out. Why are you separating them? This is what people does to twins. And I said, I'm not doing this to be shady, but I just feel like Jay is going to kick the fucking door open and he's going to keep kicking them open and knock the hell out of people. And sure enough, when that whole story came about where they were like splitting up because of the Roman Reigns thing, and I was like, okay, this is Jay's time. And they were like, no, don't say that. They are the Uso brothers. And I'm like, this is Jay's time. And it felt like with each event, it was like he's getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And I could not hold at Royal Rumble. I was just beside myself because I'm like, I felt like that proud big sister. And I was like, yes, my brother up there. Like, I felt like he deserves this so much because he has always been labeled as the underdog. And he's always been labeled as, you know, Jimmy's brother and Roman Reigns' cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, no. I felt like they can't say that no more. Ooh, they can't say that no more. And I'm just so happy for him to see him in his element. And I tell people this also. There has never been, in my opinion, I have not seen a crowd reaction that Jay has commanded in a very long time. A very long time. When they played that man's song 3 times and that show ran over because the crowd did not stop, you cannot sit up here and tell me that that man is not killing shit. You cannot say, I don't care how much hatred in your heart you have, but yes. Oh my, even kids, toddlers, standing up on that parent's shoulders, like the crowd's reaction and the joy that he brings to everybody and the love that he brings to everybody and the tone that he sets. I have not felt that and seen that in a long time. A long time. And I'm so happy for him because he has proved himself. He has worked hard. He from what I see is he plays a lot and he's a goofball, but he does not let that interfere with his drive. He does not let that interfere with his ambition. And he pops his shit and does his big one every fucking time. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. So that right there, that is my moment. Also Damian Priest.
Yes.
Damian Priest not only stuck out to me because of the simple fact of you can see the Undertaker in him and you can see who mentored him and trained him. And hearing his story and hearing where he came from and how he got started is like, oh my God. Like when he wanted to give up and when he was like, maybe this isn't for me, I can't afford this, I can't do this. And even though you hear a lot of wrestlers have that same backstory, I don't know what it is. It was just something to hear Damian Priest go through that. It could be me liking the Undertaker and stuff too, but to hear him say that and to hear how much he put so many people on, like for the Judgment Day, when they came to him and they asked him, who are some people that you felt like needed that push, or who are some people and he handpicked those people from Judgment Day, and he made sure that those are the people that need to be sitting at the table with him. I don't hear too many of those stories, so that is why I'm rooting for him and I'm happy for anything that he does. So yes, those are my favorites.
Yes, period.
Yes, yes.
So, would you say that? Oh my butt! I moved and I was like, "Oof, what the heck?"
Yes.
Would you say that Damian Priest and Jey Uso are kind of like some of your favorite currently?
Yes. I feel like they are my favorites. I like them because they proved everybody wrong. And not only everybody else, but themselves. Like, and to know what that feels like and to sit in that when you're feeling like things are not happening for you the way that they should, and you have to step outside of yourself and be like, okay, you got to get up and you got to figure this out. You can't be down about it. You got to figure out what moves you need to make and why this is happening the way that this is, and reroute everything. Even I remember hearing Bray Wyatt talk about how he was getting frustrated with the direction that he was going in the company. And you could see it. You could see it when he was on TV. You could see it, and you probably could see it with others, or either they had a good time, a good way of hiding it. So I think that they are my favorites because they are an inspiration. Like, I feel like when you watch them and when you watch these women wrestlers, seeing what they went through and the era that they had to fight through, it's like, why not keep pushing and why not keep going? Because they did it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is one of the many reasons why they are my favorites, and how they are with their fans and how they are with people. It's like they care. You know what I mean? They care about what they're doing. They care about their craft, and it shows. So yeah.
I love that. What about the women's wrestlers?
Oh my God, there are so many that
I love that there's so many now.
There are, but I have to say at the top of my list, Naomi, Jade, Bianca. Why do I say Brianna? Bianca, Rhea, Nia Jax, always Lita, always Awesome Kong, always Sable, Medusa, Luna Vachon, Jackie, Queen Sharmell. Like, I look at them as superheroes, right? Like my favorite Marvel characters in a certain aspect, because women have it hard in industries, because especially when you are in the same industry as a male, because of the simple fact that we want to show and we want to prove that we are just as good. And I feel like we are always tested. Well, if you're good as this man, then let's see you do this. Or if you're good as this male, let's see you try this, right? And each and every time we prove them wrong, and we still have to continuously prove ourselves. Not only because of that, because of the skin of our color or our heritage or what our certain cultural differences or beliefs are, and what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do because of our morals and standards, right? So it's always going to be hard for us, because while somebody else is willing to do something for a check and we're staying true to ourselves and we're not, sometimes we get left at the bottom of the totem pole, or we get overlooked, or we get unnoticed. But those group of women that I just stated or I named, I feel like the one thing that they have taught me is that you cannot settle for less. You are enough. You are worthy. You are deserving, and keep pushing. Keep pushing. What one person does not see in you, or one company does not see in you, another one will. And they're going to make sure that you get everything that you need and everything that you've wished for and everything that you desire. But you have to work at it. And just because somebody else is doing something and they are getting the things or they're meeting the goals that you want to get, it doesn't mean that you have to go that route. You just have to work a little bit harder for them to see you outside of what somebody else, outside of what they currently have their eyes on at the moment. So I think that was a teaching thing for me. Not only are they my favorites because of what they do inside of that ring, but because of what they're teaching these young girls and people and women who look like me, and women period, what we are to do and how to set the tone. You know what I mean? So they I always said, I always have in my mind of what I want to say when I meet Lita and when I meet Naomi, but I hope that I get to convey this to them without taking up their time or crying.
Oh yeah.
And get them to understand how much they mean to me and how much of an inspiration they are to not only wrestling culture but women period, and women who look like me, because they deserve to know that. You know what I mean? So such a breath of fresh air, and I love them to pieces. So
I honestly think that WWE should just go ahead and have like an all women's like
yes.
show.
Yes.
I don't know what they're waiting for.
I don't either. Like, I feel like the women's Royal Rumble is not enough. The women's matches, I feel like they've gotten a little longer with a few exceptions. But when you think about the times where women's matches were cut because of a male's match being a little bit longer, or it was so many stories that they just couldn't fit them in for a PLE or a pay-per-view event, to where they have evolved now, I feel like that they have the space, time, and energy to do that. Like, even if it's for like, I'll even take it. It would literally piss me off. But even if it was for like a holiday event, I would pay top dollars to go to a all women's wrestling event. I would, because that would bring me back to the things that I was missing, like the glow days. You know what I'm saying? Like that fraction and that era of glow. Oh my God, to see my mom and my grandmom and my aunt watching those shows and like having their favorite. And it wasn't like, oh, you got to pick one from the male side and you got to pick one from the women's side. It was like, these women are doing their things and they are putting their bodies on the line, and they're going out here and doing it because we love it. You know, they're taking time away from the, when I heard the stories about some of them women from Glow, you know, they would have to sign over rights to their children because they felt like they were, I forgot her name. She literally felt like that her mom like forced her to sign over her rights because she had her child all the time, and she needed to make decisions that she couldn't make because she was constantly on the road, doing shows, doing things, or she was injured. So when you think about the sacrifices that had to take place in order for us to be entertained, people are not thinking about that. They're not thinking about it. And I feel like they need to be appreciated and they need to be given things more because of that. You know what I mean? So, yes.
I remember as a kid, I don't remember what the name of like the show was, but there definitely used to be like an all women's wrestling. I
think it was Glow. If it wasn't another one and I missed it, but I feel like it was Glow.
And I remember it like came on late nights or something like that.
That's what it was.
Okay. It came on like, what was it? CW?
Yep.
It wasn't CW at the time, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was WNUV or something weird like that. That long. Yep. It sure did.
Okay. So that's what that was.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
I only saw like a few episodes of it, but it's ingrained in my brain.
There is a documentary on Netflix about it, because they actually had a series where it wasn't like they took everything that transpired, but they took bits and pieces of what actually happened during that time of the Glow era, and then they turned it into a Netflix series. So you might want to, if you get time, I would suggest you check it out, because it's a very good watch. And after the series was over, they had like a little documentary where they interviewed all of the women and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good watch. I would check that out, and then you'll get to see everything that I was just talking about and stuff like that. So you'll enjoy it. Yes.
Okay, I want to play a mini game.
Yay!
And it's gonna be so. It's gonna mix your two favorite things together.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
So let me paint the picture for you.
Gotcha.
It's Screamomania, right? Yes.
I love it.
It's the main event. Triple threat match.
Oh, wow.
Michael Myers, Pinhead, and
oh my God.
Maybe let's make it a fatal 4-way. Michael Myers, Pinhead, Freddy.
Oh wow.
And Jason. We'll throw Jason in there.
Okay.
How is this match going? How do you see it going?
Definitely bloody. Jason's mask gets knocked off and he's eliminated because he's running out of the ring and nobody is supposed to see his face. Oh my God. Pinhead, lie, cheating, and stealing like Eddie Guerrero. Heel turn with Freddy. They hit Freddy and Pinhead were once under an alliance, but he does a screw job, gets Pinhead eliminated. Him and Pinhead are no longer friends anymore, and messes up the match. And then Jason comes up from underneath of the ring, distracts Freddy, and then Michael Myers wins the match, takes the belt. Yup. Screamomania. That's what's happening.
The first ever Screamomania champion.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Michael Myers, the Screamomania champion. He's standing up there in his blue jumpsuit and his Michael Myers mask, knife in one hand, belt in the other one, hanging on top of the ropes. Yes, I'm here for that. I am here for it. I love it. I see it. I see this.
Listen,
yes.
He's selling out. I love it.
Yes, indeed.
With the theme song in the background.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I see that. Yes, indeed.
The signs just going, Michael, I love you.
I love you. Michael, come kill me. Marry me in Haddonfield. Yes, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like a women's version of this.
Ooh.
There's not a lot of like women killers.
Final Girls Royal Rumble match.
Okay. Final Girls. The names. Sydney Prescott.
Yes. Laurie Strode.
Yes. What is her name from I was about to say Five Nights at Freddy. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes. Nancy.
Okay. And then who?
This is
We're gonna throw you in there.
Oh yeah. I'm
gonna throw you in there.
Yes.
How's it going?
Okay. We gotta think this out. Okay. I got it. Me and Laurie Strode were tag team partners, right? We go in there, have a plan. You know what? Whoever gets in there, we're not going to be upset because they have a shot at WrestleMania to fight Sally Hardesty from Texas Chainsaw for the belt. Okay? Hear me out. music going, crowd going. Everybody's like, oh my God, Laurie Strode, the female phenom, coming down there. We're fighting each other, but we're not trying to fight each other because at the end of the day, we are tag team partners. All right? This is not supposed to happen. Boom. Clock goes. Sydney Prescott comes running down here, snatches her ghost face mask off. We all get to fighting, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen. Boom. Brandy comes down the entrance ramp. She makes an appearance. Oh, we didn't know she was going to be here at the Royal Rumble. What in the final girl is happening? Comes down here. Everybody's getting the fighting or whatever. Who gets eliminated? I eliminate Sydney Prescott. Why? Because I'm supposed to. She gets eliminated, right? Then Ellen Ripley from Alien comes running down the ring. She comes in there, and she comes in there in her alien mask, snatches the mask off in her alien wrestling suit. Everybody's out there fighting and rumbling and all of this stuff. And then Laurie Strode eliminates Ellen Ripley, right? Oh my God, what is this direction going to go in? Because now it's me, Laurie Strode, and Nancy in the ring. How is this going to go? Everybody's speculating. The crowd is going crazy. The commentators, Michael Cole and JR, is talking their shit. And nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So then me and Laurie Strode eliminate Nancy. Bye-bye. Back to Freddie Land you go, Nancy. Love you, but this is our time. So then everybody is like, oh my God. JR is like, this is a slobber knocker. The female phenom and Laurie Strode, the two women from Haddonfield, this cannot be so. What is going on here? We're doing a stare off, and I'm pointing to the WrestleMania sign because that is my belt, and I'm going to get it. Laurie Strode looks at me, looks at the WrestleMania sign, points at the WrestleMania sign. Then we lock in, right? It's a match. We're going at it, throwing me up against the ropes. I'm tombstoning her every chance I get. And then the lights cut out.
Uh-oh.
The lights cut out, right? The lights cut out. Alice from Friday the 13th, part 1, comes up from underneath of the ring, right? And everybody hears in the crowd, kill, 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 ma, ma, ma. And then that distracts Laurie Strode. I eliminate her, boom. On the road to WrestleMania, I'm getting the belt.
Period.
That's how that ends.
Yes. That's how that ends. Love it. Main event.
Main event phenom going
Period.
to WrestleMania. Yes.
And then you'll have 2 belts.
Exactly. Yup.
Yeah.
I won't be called 2 chains. I'll be called 2 belts. I'm here for that. Yes.
I love that. That is that was so good.
Yup. They need to put me in the writer's room. Hello?
Creative.
Jeez. Yes.
Hello.
Come on, creative.
You need it.
Yes. Yes.
I wonder how many women writers they have.
That is a good question. That is a very good question. I might look that up today because that is a very good question.
I just thought about that.
Yep.
Creative.
Yes.
WWE.
Hello. Yep.
Knock knock.
I'm available.
All right, getting back into the content creation of it all. We've been dabbling in it a little bit, but please tell us about Scream Reapers and how you came up with the idea of Scream Reapers.
So, I'm a gore whore and I'm a horror content creator, and I kept going into teams and going into spaces, and I did not feel like I belonged. It was either you would find that hand group of people who loved horror and they didn't look like you, or you would find those 1 or 2 people in those teams or organization who loved horror, but that wasn't their content, right? And they only wanted to collab with you during Halloween or during Friday the 13th. And I was like, where are my people? So I never got into content creation thinking that I was going to become partner or that I was going to be a partner. And then I found out the way that you could get a stream team or create organizations or even get a team page is if you were a partner. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be a partner, but what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then I started writing down ideas, and I started writing down what I wanted this to look like and what I wanted out of a team or what I wanted out of an organization. And I started playing horror, and I started doing horror stuff in my content creation. And I would always hear, "Oh my God, I'm so glad that you like horror. Oh my God, I love those movies. Oh my God, you do special effects and makeup. How did you learn? I wish there were more black women who did this," right? And I'm like getting frustrated because I'm like, y'all not looking hard enough. Like, what the hell? But at the same time, I'm like, we're not being pushed. You know what I'm saying? And when it's time for me to play horror games in August, and it's not Friday the 13th, and I'm looking for somebody to play with, it's not people who look like me all the time. It's not people who are creating that content all the time. So I'm like, okay, I need to create an organization or I need to create a team where these awesome content creators are being seen, being heard, and we're doing stuff that we love. And I was, doing things with Melanin Gamers and Brown Girl Gamer Code and stuff like that, like speaking on panels and stuff. And I remember one day, Brand and I were talking, and she was like, "You know what? I love horror." And we started talking about horror things, and she was telling me how she started loving horror because of her grandmother, and I started talking about me and my dad, and a light bulb clicked. And I started doing research, and I was like, women of color horror teams or all black horror teams or African American horror teams, and I found nothing. When I looked up horror teams, it was Caucasian based or it was male dominated and Caucasian based. When I looked up special effects makeup stream teams or maybe special effects makeup groups or Discord, it was the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God. So one day, I messaged Brand and I was like, "Hey Brand," I said, "if you get a minute, can I, meet with you in Discord? I want to run something past you." And she was like, "Sure." And I remember I had this whole, because I admire Brand and I like all of the things that she's done. Her, Jan, Jay from Black Girl Gamers, and Melanin Gamers creator. I admire them so much. And now Mira, the creator of Noir, because it's hard in this space for us, and to be leaders, like, oh my God, on top of that, like, it's really, really rough at times, and it can get taxing to your health and to your mental. So I admire them so much, right? So I'm like, I'm too scared to talk to anybody else, so I'm closest with Brand. Let me run this past her. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, Brand, I have this idea. I said, I want to create a team, but I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. And I remember her saying, she made that comment. And I said, I want to create a horror-based team for women and femmes of color. And she said, girl, if you don't, she said, where is this? And I said, I have everything written down. She said, get this off paper. We need you. She didn't say you. She said, we. And when she said that, it sent the jolt through my body like, oh my God. She was like, how long have you been holding on to this? And I said, it's been sitting for a year. And she said, what?
A year?
Yes. She said, how long have you been partnered? I said, for a couple years or so. She said, Phenom. She said, she said, what do you need? And she said, what do you need? I said, I just need guidance and I need you to push me. She said, listen. And I read all of my ideas to her and I told her everything. She said, you don't need me. She said, you have it all together. She said, set it up. And I said, okay. And she said, I'm serious. You need to do this. And she said, I'm going to check in on you. And she kept her word. She kept checking in. She was like, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you email this? And I was like, yep, I did it. And she said, well, when is the date? When are we announcing this? And I said, I'm going to announce it on October the 31st. And she was so excited. She was there. I remember when I did the stream, Brand was the first person in my chat. Like, she was waiting. She was there.
Like,
Like,
finally.
yes. And she was so supportive and she was so helpful. And she was like cheering me on and stuff like that. And I was so grateful because I didn't know what I was doing. Even now, sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing. And I get so frustrated. But the caliber of talent that I have in this organization and the group of individuals that I have in this organization who some of them don't even realize how amazing they are. And it makes me emotional because we're like a little family. You know what I'm saying? Like we watch horror movies together. Lately we haven't been doing that many events because everybody has been so like I'm so proud of them. I'm sad at times because we're so busy and we can't like sit in Discord with each other, but I'm glad that it's not because they're not doing anything and it's because they're busy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so proud of them and I'm so like humbled that they trust me enough to be able to be in this space with me because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, do y'all have any ideas? And they're like, Phenom, we're listening to you. You know what I'm saying? Or, thank you for letting me share that. But it's like, I want everybody to see how great they are. And I want everybody to see like there are people of color who love the horror genre, and there are people of color who are making strides and are thriving. And I remember I was talking about the first Black special effects makeup artist, and I was talking about it in Screen Reapers and talking about it on social media. And the response that I got is like, oh my God, like we did not know this. We didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. It's true. Like there is one of us out here. And then that's when we started talking about the Black movie directors. And I remember saying to somebody, I was like, do you know about Candyman? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, you know who Nia DaCosta is? And they was like, who's that? And I'm like, she's the director of Candyman. She's Black. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yes. So it's like, that is the reason why I started this. Not only because I don't want to be the only person sitting at the table, but I want all of my people there with me.
Period.
And I also want everybody to know, like, Jordan Peele is out here working his ass off because y'all are making him. Like, he's not the only one. Like, Jordan Peele is tired. Like, he needs you to know, like, you could do this too. There's other people out here. Like, the director of Rusty, the director in Tales from the Hood. Oh my God, I want to meet him one day also. Like, he's another awesome individual who brought horror to us. Like, all of these amazing people you're watching them and you don't know who these awesome people are. You don't know who these awesome brains are that is bringing us this amazing, amazing entertainment and content. And I just want to show it and I just want people to see it. I love my people, even when they don't love me. And I just want everybody to be great. And I just want everybody to thrive and do their big ones because we deserve it. Our ancestors and us have worked too hard and we're not going to let them die in vain, okay? Because we got stuff to do and stories to tell. No pun intended, BT. So, yes, that is one of the many reasons, well, all of the reasons why I started it because it's needed. And I hear all the time, like, do you play any other games? And I'm like, yeah, once or twice. But this is what I love. And this is my passion. And why not share it with the world and others who love it like me? Help them get there where they can be global and share it with the world as well. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
thank you.
I think that whatever like media outlet I look for, I always like dabble and see like, are Black people doing this too?
Yes. Yes.
Like, I'm a little emo girl.
Yeah,
so,
me too. Me too.
Like rock, I always look to see
gosh.
if they're like, where the Black people at in this?
Yes.
anime, where's the black people, gaming, all of that.
Yes.
Even when I first started like looking into Twitch, which is how I found you, I was like, oh yes.
Yes.
I'm
Thank
always
goodness.
looking for my people, especially black women and
Yes.
black femmes. I just, I don't know, it's just
It
the
is.
energy.
And then too, like coming up, when you're growing up, like playing video games or liking the things that goth, like emo, alternative music, anime, that was always like, what the hell is that? And that's white people shit. So having to not, and I'm 42 years old, and having to not suppress that and not feel like that I have to hide and I can talk about these things and I can game with people and they get things. I can see people at a Sleep Theory concert or an Aerosmith concert. Like those are
Yes.
the things that bring me joy. And I'm like, why not embrace the love that we have for these things or showcase our individuality? And I tell people all the time, it's not white people shit. It's not. Like, have you ever heard of Rick James? Have you ever heard of like they're
Prince,
Prince? They're right in front of our face.
Jimi
Like
Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. They were doing this a long time ago. So what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just it's funny that you said that that you look for your own people because I do the
Everywhere.
same thing. Yes, I
Even when
do.
I go to concerts, I'm like,
I'm looking around like, "Hi, friend," and it's so weird because I never was that type of person to like walk up to people because of my social anxiety. But if you put me at a wrestling event, I'm slapping fives with people, I'm high fiving, chanting. And then when I get to these spaces and I went to the Beetlejuice brunch when Beetlejuice came out.
ooh.
And it was myself and a couple of other content creators. And I remember sitting down and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit over here and wait until the movie starts. And another content creator walked up and she is Latina. And she walked up to me and grabbed my hand. She was like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Yay, our people are here." And we sat there and we were talking about Beetlejuice and talking about the horror genre and we looked up and we're like, "Oh, they're letting us in the movie now." So those are the things that I cherish and I love so much. And when you find somebody there that looks like you or that you can relate to, it's like, oh my God, I have struck gold.
Yes.
So it's so needed and it's so important. I try to explain that, even though I don't have to, but I try to explain that to the others. Like, until you have walked the shoes that we have walked, or you have sat in certain spaces that we have sat in, you won't understand why we are creating or we are doing these spaces. And I keep hearing all the time, you guys are talking about segregation, but you're doing it now. It's not a sense of segregation, it's a safety and comfort zone. Because if I can't count on one hand how many times I've went into a space and thought I was safe, and then I look in the Discord and they're like, "I'm so sick of these taking over horror, taking," and I'm like, "Whoa, I thought I was safe here." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I can't, I can't fathom how many times people have expressed that they've endured or shared their experiences and how excited they are when we find out people who like the same things that we like, and we're not judged and we're not looked at as weird and we're not looked at as, nerdy being a wrong thing. It's embraced and it's love and it creates sunshine and happiness. So I love that. I love that for us and I love that for me too because, oh my gosh. Yes.
It's needed for sure.
Yes.
Okay. So, what would you say some of the highs and lows you've had in your streaming slash content creation career?
Some of the highs are my accomplishments in creating Screen Reapers. I think that's one of my favorite accomplishments. Some of the lows, I think that people are under the impression that we are robots, one. So that creates um a sense of feeling bad on those days where you can't, when you just physically and mentally can't produce content. And you're not giving it your 100%, but you feel like that you're too old, or you're going to lose followings, or you're going to lose relationships because you can't be as consistent as you would like to be, or you can't be seen as much as you want to because
Mm-hmm.
of your age or because of your personal restrictions. I think the first time, and it was last year, I think that the first time I like had a come to Jesus moment with myself, and I was like, is it time for me to retire and then just work on Screen Reapers? Was I went through a period of just doors closing, like
Oh.
no's, even for Screen Reapers. It was like I went through a period where I was getting reached out for Screen Reapers like constantly. And I'm talking about like not only games, but like movie viewings and movie premieres and,
Ooh.
tickets and stuff like this, right? And then it was like, I would get those emails where I'm introducing myself and I'm introducing Screen Reapers, and now I'll get, we don't really have this budget for it, or we can't really offer funding, or we don't really have enough for everybody on your team. And it was just like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? I would pitch things to people for my team members and my friends and myself. And I would get things like, well, that's nice to know, but we were interested in you. And I remember having a conversation with Mira and T, and I was like, I'm just tired. And they was trying to encourage me, and they were like, well, in order for everybody else to eat, you got to get your foot in the door and build those relationships so that your team members can get what you want them to have. But it's so frustrating at times because oftentimes I feel like we're not able to share in these spaces. We're able to share all of our accomplishments and all of the highs and all of our accolades and all of our awards and partnerships and stuff like that. But the times where you're sitting and you're like, why doesn't anybody want, to sponsor me? Or why don't they know that I like horror, but you're asking me, and this is like extra, but you know that I like horror and wrestling, but you're asking me to promote for like Rice Krispie treats or something like that, and you don't want to pay me for it. Like, it's like I'm pitching myself as a horror and wrestling creator to you, and you want to talk about what? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm getting paid like my normal rate from one company, and then another company is trying to lowball you, and then you talk with other people in different spaces and they're like, oh, they paid me such and such, and I'm like, what? And then you find out it's a male counterpart, and they got paid because they're a male and they are Caucasian, or they are just a male, period. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a time where I was like, maybe this isn't for me anymore. I even had somebody say to me, like, well, I wouldn't expect somebody your age to play that, but I'll look into that and I'll get back to you. And they never got back to me. Never got back to me.
That's such a weird thing to say to somebody.
Is I have, and I always wanted to be a final girl. I don't have to be, in a Waiting to Exhale movie. I want to be in a horror film, right? And I got pitched a role, and I was the lead role's mama. And I was
Mm.
like, what? But then I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to rock it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember hearing when we were in the meeting, I remember one of the reps was like, well, I wouldn't think she would be the mom. I would think she would have been the older sister or the cool auntie, based off of her streams. And they just like cut them off like, nope, I think she's perfect for the mom role. So that was kind of like disheartening, and it kind of made me feel like, oh my god, am I that old? Like, and I said, well, maybe I have outgrown this business, or I'm too old for this business. And I am perfectly fine with just giving the knowledge that I have learned and resources to Screen Reapers and pushing them instead. But then I was like, I have to keep going. And I look at people like Tactical Grandma and I Love Just
Oh my God, she's so
Puzzle.
cool.
And I'm just like, they are as young as they feel, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not letting anything stop them or letting anything, any challenge that they have, whether it be age related or home life related, throw things at them and just give up. So I try to hold on to that. I try to I allow my friends and family and my team members sometimes to push me because I'm transparent with them and let them know that, I'm not going through different struggles that you are. I'm probably going through the same struggles that y'all are, if more. So I try to be transparent with them, and they, like all of the Screen Reapers, we encourage each other. We try to build each other up. We try to lift each other up. So those lows, those highs outweigh the lows, thank goodness. But there definitely were some lows, definitely were. But off the top of my head, those are the ones that I can think of at the
Okay.
moment.
But I feel like it's really nice and it's good that like you at least have some people that like when those lows hit, they have
Mm-hmm.
you have those people that like bring you back up and let
Yes.
you and give you like that encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
And be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, listen, stuff happens sometimes,
It
but
does. It does.
you
It
got to keep
does.
on pushing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What would be some like advice that you would give somebody who is just starting out like streaming?
Ooh. Um, you do not need you don't need expensive equipment. Um, you do not need a cam. You do not need a mic. Um, and also do not when you're setting your goals, do not feel like that you're failing at your goals based off of where someone is at the point of their career in content creation. Um, Realize what it took for them to probably get there. Ask them questions on how they got there. Ask them questions if they have advice. And make sure you're doing it in the right way, right? Make sure that that person is comfortable and you are comfortable as well to have those uncomfortable conversations about the real of content creation and streaming. Another thing is that learn the importance of NDA and TOS because it is very important. And lastly, which is also important, read your contracts. If you do not understand them, ask one of your counterparts. Ask someone who has been in this. Hell, if you need me, look for me. DM me, send me a DM on Discord. If I can't get back to you, I tell people all the time, if I don't answer right away, it's because I'm looking for the information or I'm busy, but I promise I'm going to get back. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, read, read, read. That's the best advice I can give anybody. And another thing is don't push yourself. Learn to take mental health breaks. Do not do 24-hour streams for growth or for subs because you are only going to kill yourself. Do it when you are ready and if you are feeling like you are able to do it. Do not set that as a goal because it's not going to do anything but tire you out and make you hate it. Also, you do not have to say yes to everything. If it does not meet your brand or if it's not something that is a part or that will fit inside of your brand, it's okay for you to say no politely. I feel like I was only supposed to say one or two things. I'm sorry.
No,
Um,
you giving all the good information.
Another thing is just make sure that you are providing the content that you are comfortable in and that you what makes you happy. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Like somebody told me, there are a million brands of sneakers. Everybody is buying sneakers. But everybody likes Nike for the reason that they like Nike, and everybody likes Adidas for the reason that they like Adidas. It's up to you to make sure that they are liking your Nike. And that's it.
Period. Period.
Yes.
I love it. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for me, because again, I have a very bad attention span.
Yes.
Like, I've never
Me
had to
too.
read a contract before.
Mm-hmm.
Like for streaming purposes
Yeah.
or like content creation purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like, I feel like some people maybe just don't like to read.
They don't. And another thing too is a lot of times companies will try to, and those are the companies that you guys need, and I always watch out for too, is when they send you something on a Monday and they are messaging you by Tuesday evening or Wednesday, like, hey, did you get this? Did you get, watch out for them people. Or when they want a 24-hour turnaround period, watch out for those people, because they don't want you to read that contract for a reason. And what I was taught to always pay attention to is the exclusivity of your content, the ability to change the contract, because if you're a parent or if you have a disability or an illness or a work schedule, let's not forget that things can happen. There can be a natural disaster or your child throwing up in your lap. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you are able to say, hey, I know I scheduled this sponsor stream for this day and time, but something came up. I'm going to reschedule it for another day, because those companies are in your stream and they're making sure that that timer is going off, or they're making sure that you are streaming on that day and you're posting that content. And anything outside of that, you could possibly get sued for. There have been also things like, I tell people to pay attention to NDA, because we all get that opportunity where we're like, yay, I can't wait to tell my friends, but you can't, because it's NDA. You're not allowed to share it. I have been sitting at my PC and been in Discord with my friends, and I have opened that email and wanted to scream so loud, but I can't, because they're going to be like, oh my God, what happened? Because I can't tell them what happened. You know what I mean? So make sure that you're paying attention to that, because one or two things can happen. You can get sued, you can get fined, or that can put a bad taste in that rep's mouth. And the way that things are changing and this industry is changing, one day you might meet somebody who works in 2K, and next month they'll reach out to you and say, hey, I'm working for Square Enix now. I'm putting you in my contact list. Please put this email in your favorites. So you have to be very careful of what you're doing and how you're carrying your business. And if you are looking like you don't know what you're talking about, that's how people can feel like they can get over you and treat you like you don't know what you're talking about. So you have to be very, very careful and take the time to read. And I am the same way. Like, I don't tend to read books. I have to do the audio books, because by the time I'm finished the first page and I'm moving to the next one, I done forgot what was on the first page. So if I feel like I'm getting to that point where it's just looking like a bunch of gibberish to me, that's when I call up one of my associates, or I call my entertainment lawyer and say, can you explain this to me? Because either I'm tired, or this is not looking like this is something I should be signing. And 9 times out of 10, it's my instinct, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't do this. Another thing is too, know your worth. Granted, a lot of things are not going to be given to you. You have to show these companies that you are interested in their product. So there have been lots of things that I have purchased. There are lots of affiliate programs that I have signed up for, just so I can get my foot in the door and build up my resume. But once you are looking at your stats and you're looking at your numbers, and I'm talking about as a collective, not just for that one platform, because that's how they try to get you too. All together, like if you have 5, 6 social medias, you should be giving all of those stats of your reach for everything as a collective, right? there are going to be people who's going to try and lowball you. So I'm not totally against affiliate programs, but try not to do a lot, because you, at some point, like, I know sometimes people say, well, I'm just doing this for fun. At some point, when you are putting in 8 hours, 10 hours at a time between streaming, editing, posting, being your own marketing director, being your own engagement director, things of that nature, you're going to need money for that. That's a job. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to make the money off of subs and stuff, because it's not your community's responsibility to pay your bills. If they do that, that would be a blessing. But at the same time, it's not their responsibility. They have a life that they have to take care of, and lives that they have to take care of on their own. So you want those brand deals, you want those sponsorship deals. So you can't just walk up to Black Cult Craft and say, hey, I want to work with you. And they look at your timeline and you have not shown an interest. You have not posted or retweeted their things or anything like that. Right. So sometimes we have to, in order to get our foot in the door, do those things. But after a while, it's like, okay, I've been doing this for free for a long periodically time. Let's talk numbers and let's talk money. You know what I'm saying? So once you get to that place, make sure that you know your worth, and talk with people in those spaces and say, hey, have you worked with this company before? Are you comfortable with sharing how much they paid you, or sharing how the rep treated you, or sharing how the contract looked to you? Ask these questions, and don't take offense to it if nobody is comfortable sharing. Some people are not able to, and some people are not comfortable. That's just their prerogative. It's not that they want to be the crab in the barrel. It's just certain things that certain people are comfortable with, or certain things that they're able to share with you or able to talk to you about. Like, I have a lot of friends who have done things that I was interested in doing, and I felt bad because I wanted to ask them, and I felt like they felt bad because they probably couldn't tell me. And my only response is, if you're comfortable enough with telling me, I want to know how I can do this or how I can get my team for this. And if not, it's okay. I totally understand. And I would get, well, unfortunately, I can't share it, or unfortunately, that was through my management, and I just leave them alone because they're being honest. And I don't want them to feel like, well, she's just hitting me up for stuff. You know what I mean? So, but I get it. Like, it's important for people to have those conversations and ask those questions, so that you're not the odd person out, or you're not getting short end of the stick also. So, yep.
Also, I'll add, watch out for scammers.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I've had so many like scam emails. Whether it's like people that claim they want to help me with marketing,
Oh, yes.
or they want to, like, recently it's been like some like companies that want me to like advertise their headphones and stuff, and I never know if it's like true, so I'll like do some like
Digging.
detective
Yep.
stuff,
Look them up
and I'm
on
like,
LinkedIn. Look them up on LinkedIn. And I told Screen Reapers too, look them up on LinkedIn. With every business email, right, is going to have like your branding name, how they can reach you, all your socials, and your website, or your link tree or whatever, right? That's one of the first things that I look for. The second thing is, can I find you on LinkedIn? Third thing is, when they address you as dear, or how are you? I hope you're well, dear. Hello, my love, and stuff like that. That's a
my
scam.
love. Ooh.
Yes, that is a scam. And then two, where the email address is coming from. Organizations are going to have org or .com, things like that. They're not going to have thriller makeup at gmail.com/gxkkkkkk. That is not a real company. Don't give them people the time of day, and don't give them your information, please.
At all.
And nobody is going to reach out to you to, quote unquote, help you with your numbers. They're going to steal your account or bot your account up. Only person that is supposed to be doing that is you, your management and marketing team that you have. That is it.
Oh, I I don't know what was going on with like the marketing people at one point in time. I never clicked on anything, but I just
Yes.
got so many bots like, hey, I want to help
Yeah.
you with your marketing. Hey, whether it's YouTube, my
Yes.
email address. I literally had to ban the word marketing
DM
and
me.
what's the word they use for it wasn't marketing, it was something else. Like GFX or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
I had to ban it on everything
Oh
because
yeah.
it was the
It
worst.
was. It definitely is. And it's annoying because sometimes
Yes.
those important DMs or emails, they can get lost in spam. But it's like you get so scared, you don't know what to click on. So just do your research and go with your instinct. If they are legit and they really want to work with you, I will say that they will contact you. And if you're unsure, you can always reply back. Can we set up a Discord call or a Zoom meeting? I have a couple of questions that I need clarification on. If they don't respond back to you with that, nope, done.
Out here trying to catfish people.
Yeah, little weasels.
Where do you see your content creation / streaming journey going in the next 5 years?
Ooh, I would love to have a role in a horror film. I would love to start attending like the streamer awards. I
Yeah.
really want to attend the Fangoria awards. Those are my main goals, and I want my Screen Reapers to have red carpet opportunities. We have horror novelists in there. I want to see their horror novels published and on Amazon and in the best publisher list. Like, I just want so many things for them and for myself, but those are the main things that I see as far as goals in the next 5 years. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Win an award,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
I
Yes.
didn't think that I would be here.
I know, right? Oh my
I
God.
like to thank the Academy.
And thank Remy for making me remember to write my goals down. Yes.
Yes.
All of that. All of that.
Listen, I don't know what it is about this year, but I'm like, yes, I need goals. All the
Yes.
goals.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I have one more question for you, but before I say that, I just want to thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. This
This
was
has been so much fun.
Yes, it's so fun. Thank you so much.
Last but not least, please let everyone know where they can find you on all the social medias.
You can find me everywhere at DaFemalePhenom, with DA, not THE. Anywhere from Facebook to Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Lemonade, Snapchat, everywhere. Also make sure you're checking out my website at www.thefemale.com. That is where you'll see all of my blog and unboxing reviews, horror movie premieres and reviews, horror things, horror goodies that I buy and get sent. And also, please make sure you're checking out the Screen Reapers. Our Screen Reapers are doing blog posts, horror movies, horror short films, horror novels are coming out. We have so much exciting things that's coming out this year, so please stay tuned. And also, if you want to be a Reaper soul and support us anywhere that you go, there is some Reaper merch that is on our website that you can purchase. So please, 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 and if you do purchase, please tag us with the hashtag Reaper Souls and Screen Reaper so we can post you on our website and our socials as well. So yeah.
And I will link all of that in the descriptions of YouTube and Spotify and all that good stuff too.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
this
you.
Has been amazing.
Yes.
I have not stopped smiling this entire time.
Say, my cheeks hurt from laughing and smiling so much. I love it.
So much fun.
Yes.
And then at the end of every podcast, we like to give a good GG. So GG to you.
GG to you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.